Welcome to the greenhouse. Take a deep, slow breath with me. Do you smell that damp, earthy, incredibly grounding aroma hanging in the air? To me, that is the smell of pure potential. It is the scent of a new season quietly waiting to wake up. Pull up a chair, get comfortable, and let's just sit here together for a moment. The morning sun is just starting to warm the glass, and it's the perfect time to talk about something that feels a little bit like magic. Today, we are going to dive deeply into the highly rewarding process of seed starting, and we're going to do it completely without stress. If you have ever walked into a garden centre in May, you've experienced the overwhelming urge to fill your cart. You see lush 6-inch tomato plants, the bright peppery green of fresh basil, and trailing zinnias spilling over their pots. It's intoxicating. But you've also likely experienced the sinking sticker shock at the register. At $5 to $10 for a single plant, a humble backyard garden can suddenly feel like an expensive luxury hobby. I want to assure you right now, growing your own abundant food and beautiful flowers does not have to be a financial burden. There is a better way. There is a unique kind of joy that happens in the dead of winter. When the ground outside is frozen solid and covered in snow, there is nothing quite like making a cup of hot tea and opening a brand new seed catalogue. The pages are filled with vibrant, impossible colours. It is a catalogue of dreams, allowing you to plan a summer paradise while still wrapped in your winter blanket. Growing from seed lets you access that dreaming phase of gardening early. You aren't just reacting to what the store happens to have in stock. You are the architect of your space. My name is Mira. Today, we are going to strip away the hyper-technical jargon that gatekeeps beginners from growing their own plants. I am going to show you exactly how to take a dry, lifeless speck and coax it into a vibrant plant. Imagine an extreme macro camera shot. A tiny pale green arch, no thicker than a thread, pushing its way through the dark soil. As it pulls its head from the dirt, it sheds a microscopic seed coat and unfolds 2 perfect leaves to catch the light. That isn't a miracle. It's a biological guarantee. Seeds desperately want to grow. We just need to give them the cues. Let's start with garden math, because understanding the economics is incredibly empowering. When you buy a nursery seedling, you aren't just paying for the plant. You pay for the plastic pot, greenhouse heating, specialized lighting, transport fuel, and retail markup. A single heirloom Brandywine tomato seedling costs about $5. If you want a salsa garden and a pasta sauce garden, you might easily need 20 tomato plants. That is $100 just for tomatoes. Add in peppers, cucumbers, and basil, and your weekend nursery run easily eclipses $300. Now, compare that cost to seeds. A packet of organic Brandywine seeds costs about $3.50 and contains roughly 50 seeds. Your cost per nursery plant is $5, but your cost per seed is a mere 7 cents. Growing from seed allows you to plant massive, wildly abundant gardens for the cost of a cup of coffee. Furthermore, it unlocks biological diversity. A local garden centre might carry 3 tomato varieties. A seed catalogue carries 300. You can grow midnight black cherry tomatoes and fiery ghost peppers. It is absolute gardening freedom. Imagine stepping into your backyard and harvesting a Brad's Atomic Grape tomato, a variety that looks like a painted canvas of lavender, olive green and brick red. Or imagine slicing into a Rosa Bianca eggplant with its stunning creamy white and pale purple streaks. These are culinary treasures that commercial agriculture usually leaves behind because they don't transport well on semi-trucks. But in your backyard, transport durability doesn't matter. Delicate flavor matters. Breathtaking beauty matters. Seed starting is the only gateway to experiencing these rare heirloom flavors. Anxiety in gardening usually stems from a lack of understanding. Let's remove the mystery of the seed. If you sliced a plump bean seed in half under a microscope, you wouldn't see a miniature plant waiting to pop out. You would see three distinct parts: the hard outer seed coat, the starchy endosperm, which I call the packed lunch, and the microscopic embryo. A seed exists in suspended animation, waiting for three environmental triggers to tell it that it is safe to emerge: moisture, warmth, and oxygen. Notice what isn't on that list. Fertilizer. A seed brings its own food to the party. When placed in damp soil, a beautiful process called imbibition begins. The dry seed coat absorbs water just like a sponge, swelling and eventually cracking. Enzymes awaken inside, breaking down the endosperm's starches into highly energetic sugars. Fueled by this sugar, the embryo pushes out its first root to dive down for water, followed quickly by a tiny shoot pushing upward. To successfully trigger this biological sequence inside your house in late winter, you must master the holy trinity of seed starting: soil, moisture, and light. Let's start with soil, the literal foundation of life. A heartbreaking beginner mistake is planting seeds in heavy backyard dirt. Garden dirt is full of clay, rocks, and soil-borne fungi. In a small pot, it compacts into a dense brick, suffocating fragile baby roots. Instead, we use seed starting mix. Interestingly, this mix contains absolutely zero actual soil. It is a sterile, soilless medium designed to retain moisture and provide extreme breathability. It contains peat moss to hold water, vermiculite to release moisture slowly, and perlite, popped volcanic glass, to create tiny pockets of air. This sterile environment keeps infant plants disease-free. Water is the trigger for life, but it is also the #1 killer of indoor seedlings. Imagine those delicate, newly sprouted root hairs. They need water to drink, but they also desperately need oxygen to breathe. If the soil is soaking wet, the air pockets fill with water and the root physically drowns. If it dries out entirely, the roots shrivel and die within hours. We are aiming for the Goldilocks zone of moisture, the feeling of a thoroughly wrung-out kitchen sponge. Damp, but absolutely not dripping. To achieve this, we always pre-moisten our mix in a bucket before planting. Once your fragile seeds finally sprout, I want you to stop watering them from the top entirely. Pouring water over thread-like seedlings can physically crush them under the weight of the drops, and it encourages aggressive fungal growth on the wet soil surface. Instead, we bottom water. Place your pots in a solid, watertight tray. Pour water directly into the tray. Capillary action will naturally draw the water up through the drainage holes at the bottom of the pots. This perfectly hydrates the deep root zone where it is needed, while keeping the surface of the soil beautifully dry and safe. If moisture wakes the seed up, light is the engine that keeps it alive. Once a seedling breaks the soil, its packed lunch is completely empty. It must immediately begin photosynthesizing. Beginners often lovingly place trays on a south-facing windowsill, only to find their seedlings quickly grow 3 inches tall, turn pale, and snap under their own weight. This condition is called becoming leggy. Window glass filters out vital light spectrums, and winter sun is simply too weak. The panicked seedling stretches its stem as fast as it can, reaching for stronger light, until it sadly collapses. To prevent legginess, you must use artificial grow lights. Please don't worry, you don't need expensive purple hydroponic setups. Standard LED shop lights from the hardware store, emitting 5,000 to 6,500 kelvins, perfectly mimic bright midday daylight and are incredibly cheap. The golden rule is proximity. Your lights must be positioned almost uncomfortably close to the plants, just 2 to 3 inches above the top leaves. As the plants grow, simply raise the lights. Seedlings also need 14 to 16 hours of light a day. Plug them into a cheap mechanical timer, and you never have to think about it again. Now, let's talk about gear. You don't need expensive proprietary trays. A seed will happily sprout in anything that holds dirt and drains water. Upcycle clean yogurt cups by simply punching holes in the bottom. Cut toilet paper tubes in half. They will break down naturally in the soil later, preventing root disturbance. You will need a solid 10-20 style tray to hold your containers for bottom watering, and a humidity dome to trap moisture while germinating. You can buy plastic domes or simply stretch clear kitchen wrap over your trays until the seeds sprout. It works just as well for pennies. The one piece of specialized gear totally worth investing in is a seedling heat mat. Most warm weather crops, like tomatoes and peppers, need soil temperatures between 75 and 85 degrees to sprout. In a chilly spring house, they might take 3 long weeks to emerge or rot entirely. A $15 heat mat slides right under your tray, warming the soil and turning a 14-day struggle into a 4-day explosive success. Lastly, grab an old desk fan. A gentle breeze micro-stresses the plant stems, causing them to release lignin and thicken up. This guarantees your plants won't snap when moved outdoors. We have our biology and our gear. Let's sow. Step 1. Prep the mix in a bowl with warm water until it passes the snowball test. It easily holds its shape when squeezed, but no water drips out. Step 2. Gently pack the moist mix into your containers. Tap them on the table to settle the soil, but don't compress it into a brick. Step 3. Sow the seeds. The golden rule is planting a seed twice as deep as its largest dimension. Tiny seeds like oregano are surface sown. Just press them gently. Medium seeds like tomatoes go a 1/4 inch deep. Large seeds like squash go a full inch deep in the dirt. Step 4 is crucial. Label immediately. Please do not trust your memory. A tiny tomato sprout looks exactly like a tiny pepper sprout. Use masking tape or tags and clearly write the variety and date. Step 5. Build the incubation chamber. Cover your pots with your plastic dome or wrap and place the whole tray on the heat mat. The grow lights stay off for now. The seeds are happy in the dark. Step 6 is the daily check. Do not water them yet. The dome is brilliantly trapping and recycling the moisture. Just watch closely for that magical moment when the dark soil finally cracks. The daily check is a profound practice in patience and mindfulness. In our fast-paced world, we are so used to instant gratification. But seeds operate on an ancient, quiet timeline. Checking your trays each morning becomes a beautiful, meditative ritual. You hover over the damp soil, looking for the absolute slightest disturbance. You learn to notice the subtle swelling of the peat moss or the tiny shift of a white perlite pebble. And when that first bright speck of green finally breaks through the dark surface of the earth, it feels like a deeply personal, incredibly rewarding victory. When roughly 50% of your seeds break the surface, we move to step 7, the Great Unveiling. The environment must change immediately. Remove the humidity dome completely to prevent the trapped air from causing fungal rot. Turn on your blazing grow lights and lower them until they are just 2 inches above the tiny sprouts. Finally, turn off and unplug the heat mat. The seeds are fully awake now, and they actually deeply prefer cooler ambient room temperatures to grow thick and strong. Over the next 2 weeks, your plants will enter what we affectionately call the awkward teenage phase. When your seedlings first emerge, they open 2 very simple, smooth-looking leaves. These are called the cotyledons, or seed leaves. They were pre-formed inside the seed casing and don't look like the adult plant. After a week or 2 under the bright lights, the plant will push a brand new set of leaves straight up from its center. These are the true leaves. They look exactly like miniature versions of the adult foliage, crinkly for a tomato or pointed for a pepper. The arrival of true leaves means the plant is successfully photosynthesizing, but it also brings a difficult chore. If you planted 2 seeds per hole for insurance, and both beautifully sprouted, you now have a serious problem. They will aggressively compete for light and root space, eventually strangling each other. You must play favorites and kill one. Do not try to pull them apart. You will inevitably tear the delicate root hairs and kill both. Take a pair of clean scissors, choose the slightly weaker seedling, and snip it off cleanly right at the soil line. It feels absolutely brutal to beginners, but snipping ensures you don't disturb the roots of the winner. It is an act of love for the survivor. With true leaves present, your plant is officially hungry. Because our seed starting mix is completely sterile, it contains no natural nutrients. It's time to fertilize. But infant roots are incredibly sensitive. A full-strength synthetic fertilizer will burn them to a crisp. Instead, use an organic liquid fertilizer, like a gentle fish emulsion or kelp extract, diluted to just 1/4 of the strength recommended on the bottle. Add this pale, nutrient-rich tea to the bottom watering tray once a week. The seedlings will safely pull up exactly what they need to thrive and grow larger. If left in tiny 1-inch cells, the roots will eventually hit the plastic walls, circle the bottom, and become root-bound, which permanently stunts the plant's potential. You need to pot up into a larger 3-inch container. Here is Mirror's strictest rule: never, ever hold a seedling by its stem. The main stem is the fragile, vital highway for all water and nutrients. If you accidentally crush it, the plant is dead. Instead, hold it very gently by one of its simple cotyledon leaves. If a leaf rips, the plant can easily grow another one. The stem is precious. Protect it at all costs. When you prepare to pot up your thriving seedlings, take a moment to appreciate the new soil. High-quality potting soil feels entirely different from the sterile seed-starting mix. It is richer, heavier, and significantly darker. Often, you can smell the sweet, earthy aroma of the compost woven through it. This new soil will provide the vital nitrogen your plant needs to build strong, broad, adult leaves. As you gently backfill this dark earth around the delicate roots of your tomato plant, you are physically building the solid foundation that will eventually hold up pounds of heavy fruit. Even master gardeners lose plants sometimes. The most devastating issue is damping off. Your seedlings look healthy on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, an entire section has collapsed. The stem looks pinched and withered right at the soil line. Damping off is caused by aggressive soil-borne fungi. There is absolutely no cure once a plant falls over. It is gone. But there is foolproof prevention. These fungi thrive in cold, wet, stagnant conditions. To prevent it, always use sterile mix. Remove humidity domes immediately upon sprouting. Keep your fan running and stick strictly to bottom watering. If your seedlings are 4 inches tall, pale and falling over, they are leggy from insufficient light. Lower your lights immediately. For tomatoes, you can actually rescue them. When potting up a leggy tomato, bury the stem deep, right up to the top leaves. The buried stem will quickly sprout a massive root system underground. Finally, if tiny black flies are buzzing around, you have fungus gnats. Their microscopic larvae eat fragile roots. Stop overwatering immediately. Let the topsoil dry out completely between waterings. Use yellow sticky traps or water with organic BTI mosquito bits. It's mid-May. Frost danger has finally passed. You take your gorgeous indoor plants, stick them directly in the garden bed, and 2 days later, they are bleached, white, crispy, and dying. What happened? You forgot the most critical step: hardening off. Your seedlings have lived a pampered life in a mild room with 0 harsh UV radiation. Taking them directly into the blazing midday sun is like dropping a cave dweller directly into the Sahara Desert. They suffer lethal sunburn and intense shock. Hardening off is a mandatory, gentle boot camp to slowly acclimate them to the harsh outdoors. On days 1 and 2, place your trays outdoors in full, wind-protected shade for just 2 hours in the late afternoon. Then bring them back inside. Days 3 and 4, move them to dappled morning sun for 4 hours, exposing them to a light breeze. Days 5 and 6, allow a half day of direct sunlight. By now, the leaves are rapidly building protective waxes against the UV rays. On day 7, they can finally handle full sun and stay outside overnight. Warning: small outdoor pots dry out 3 times faster than in your kitchen. Check their water daily. A wilted plant attracts destructive pests. Think about the very first time you harvest from that fully grown vine in late August. You reach out, the rough leaves brushing against your wrist, and pluck a deeply ripened, heavy tomato. You take it straight into the kitchen, slice it open while it is still warm from the sun, sprinkle it with a tiny pinch of sea salt, and take a bite. The flavor is an explosion of sweet, acidic, complex summertime perfection. In that single bite, every moment of patience, every day of watering, every careful adjustment of the lights, every snip of the scissors is entirely validated. You grew this. If you had bought those mature, heavy-producing plants, you would have spent hundreds of dollars. But by learning these quiet mechanics, you spent pennies. More importantly, you gained true agency over your garden. You tapped into the oldest, most beautiful cycle of human agriculture. It is a humble, biological partnership between you and nature. Once you understand the gentle cues of soil, moisture, and light, the seeds gladly do the hard work for you. So, stop buying expensive seedlings, turn on the grow lights, get your hands wonderfully dirty, and let the magic begin in your own home. Thank you so much for sitting down and spending this time with me today in the greenhouse. I would absolutely love to hear what is going on in your world. Leave me a comment below and tell me, what is sprouting in your garden right now? Are you trying a new heirloom tomato this year? Or maybe finally growing those spicy ghost peppers? If you enjoyed our time together and want to join me for more cozy deep dive garden chats, I would be so honoured if you subscribed to the channel. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the feeling of the soil in your hands, and happy growing.